Real-time AI is going to be such a huge frontier.
Yeah. I'm more excited about that than Veo 3.
I agree with you.
In this episode of To Noise, we're going to break down all of the new AI updates from Google.
Exciting new real-time video generation from Viggle AI.
And Jony Ives joins OpenAI. Let's get into it. Welcome back. I'm Joey Dowd.
I'm Addy Ghani.
Good to see you again, Addy. We missed
movies. Oh man, I'm so bummed that show ended.
No, it ended. Now we're gonna run out of studio references to drop in the episode. So we missed earlier this week. We were both traveling out of town. I was down at Tampa at Vue, checking out some new product updates from Vue and sort of the future that they're looking at with the future computer interface and how we create with AI. A lot of interesting stuff, but in a lot of real time, like their bitches content at the speed of thought or creating at the speed of thought.
Yeah.
And ties into a lot of AI, which also ties into what we're talking about today, but like real time speed of thought, but also the limitations are not necessarily them, but just like the speed of these models. And that's also kind of a common theme today.
Yeah, I think the Vue team know that latency and the speed issues will eventually solve itself over time. It's it's not the problem on their end, it's how everything's being generated.
Or if you could do it locally or how that works.
Shout out to Tim and the team.
Yeah, great to see them and great to, and I'll have some more updates on the actual cool tech and stuff we checked out. But yeah, I was down there and then over the weekend filmed season 2 of Cinema Synthetica, which is a 48-hour AI filmmaking competition.
Nice.
That 3 teams have to make a film over the weekend and then it's going to play next week at AI on the Lot.
Nice.
We did this last year. We filmed the 3 teams doing it. They get a script. They have to do the same script and interpret it however they want and then use a variety of AI tools, whatever they want to make it.
How long of a short film is it?
The requirements are 2 to 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the interesting things that I saw from that, and again, this also ties into all of the updates that came out today or this week because it's my observation. Overall, it's like, yes, all the models are better. Like for reference, when they did the competition last year when we were filming, I remember Sora was announced.
Yes.
No one had access to it.
Can you believe that was only a year ago?
That was only a year ago. And now everyone was like, oh man, I wish we could use Sora. And so, it was like Runway Gen 3 and some of the older models. And like this stuff looked pretty good, but had a lot of the issues. Obviously now the stuff looks a lot better, but the overall creation process hasn't changed much. It's still a lot of text to image, image to video. And then with the video part, it's kind of a crapshoot of like what you're going to get and if it's what you want. And it's just like a bunch of regenerations.
Were any of the artists and the filmmakers using like a 3D tool to build the world and then use that as almost like a template?
Yes, one team did. They used Cinema 4D to build a rough version of a 3D world to frame up their shots and then use that, export the image, and then they had a whole Comfy UI workflow to style the blocking of that image to their style, and then it still ends up, it still goes to image to video.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like the image to video part is where you like start losing that creative control of.
Because you get to the image, you're like, okay, this is still awesome. This is exactly what I wanted. And then the minute it goes into video realm,
it's like, what am I going to get?
Yeah.
And then they might have to run a second process to get the lip sync and sometimes composite it together or just use the output as is from something like Act 1. So it's still, that part didn't feel like it changed much. And there's like still a lot of room for development there.
Well, transition into our big news with everything Google announced.
Yeah. And that's
because I think Google has a tool in Flow that fixes that.
I don't think so.
Okay. So on the demo, I did see that.
All right. So the big, 2 big AI specific updates: launch of Flow, a new product, and Veo 3.
Yeah.
An update to their video model, which Veo 2 was already impressive. Veo 3 stuff looks even more photorealistic.
I can't think of a better video generator today.
That's photorealistic? No, I think that from the outputs that I've been seeing, extremely impressive. And it can also generate audio, speech, and sound effects that match the video in the same generation.
Correct. And this is just like a fraction of announcements from the entire Google I.O.
There were conference. We're not going to get every single announcement. We'll get the AI-focused ones. But the big one in the AI video generation world, Veo 3, and Flow, which is a new sort of product that rolls up all of their AI creative tools into a single platform. We talked about it before, but like Veo 2, it was really hard to actually find and use. You had to like go into Google AI Labs and then call it up or access it through an API, through a third-party tool. Now they built Flow. It is a standalone product. You can get an AI Studio
pretty
subscription.
Sleek interface.
Yeah, really nice looking interface. You can, has like a very basic video editor, but you can also like extend clips. You could do generate clips. You can kind of reorder them.
Yeah.
And you can call up the different models. So you can use Veo 2, which now supports first frame and last frame for your video generation. Or you can also call up Veo 3. Currently, Veo 3 is just text to video. So there are no image inputs. It is all text-based prompts. So that'll obviously change in the future.
Yeah.
But right now, everything you're seeing with Veo 3, it is a text prompt, and then you get the output.
Tell me about the pricing.
The pricing. This is definitely the most expensive model out there. I believe what I was seeing roughly, so the Google wants, to use Flow to access Veo 3, if you're not going through an API, you got to get a subscription. And the subscription plans, there's Google AI Pro, which is $20 a month. And that gets you some of the more...
I think it gives you Veo 2.
Yeah, the same
not
Flow
Veo
Pro,
3.
right.
But then to step up to the big boys, you need
$250 a month. They have a 3-month deal where you can get it for $125 for 3 months.
You get YouTube Premium.
Yeah, you do get YouTube
That's
Premium.
like $20, $30.
And you get 30 terabytes of storage.
Yeah.
So you get some...
30 terabytes?
They kind of threw in all their extras. Yeah, it says 30 terabytes
That's
of
a lot
storage,
of storage.
on your drive and stuff. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. But this has to be on your personal Gmail account because...
Not like an enterprise workspace.
Yeah, I'm a Google Workspace user and we get Gemini and stuff through that.
Yep.
But when I went to Flow, it was like, got to switch accounts. You can't be on your enterprise, on your workspace account. You got to be on a personal Gmail account. So then there's would be a separate subscription. I'm sure eventually they'll roll out some options, some upsell charge.
Can I just say, like, for a lot of people, it's totally worth it?
The $250?
Yeah.
So how does this break down to the pricing? I remember seeing someone, I think, saying that maybe gets you 80 generations without buying additional credits. Going off the math off the API, it is about 50 cents a second for Veo 3 generation, 75 cents a second with audio, and the generations normally make you do at least 5 seconds minimum. So that's
not bad.
$2 to $3. That's every but that's a pretty expensive slot machine handle because it might be crap if you what you get, and then you got to do it again. For comparison, Runway Gen 4, which is I still think really, really good, about 12 to 16 cents a second.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay. I'm just thinking like
third of the price.
The artist or the creative that's behind the console just prompting away. They're like, okay, I really have to get this right because this is 50 cents. Go.
What if you like have a typo and you like hit enter back?
Right.
Like, no. Most expensive typo. Weirdly though, on their pricing page for the API, Veo 2 is also the same exact price as Veo 3, which I don't quite understand. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Maybe that is a typo. So pricey-ish, but yeah, so you can get Flow, you can get the professional, you can get the premium $250 a month package. And yeah, generate images, generate video. The Flow looks like a very sleek product for working with your video. It reminds me a bit of what Sora built, which I think Sora's interface was more interesting than the actual model itself.
Yeah. Well,
what were you thinking? You were talking about, you thought that Flow could
I think if Cinema Synthetica folks had Flow, one of the features that I haven't tested it, obviously, I saw on the announcement was you take a clip and it's on the timeline and you can kind of, if you, let's say like the first half of the clip and the second half of the clip just really goes into a direction you don't want, you can just trim it and then reprompt it and it'll regenerate a clip with the first identical half and then a second new half.
Yeah, it's basically like a hack where if you took the frame from the middle of the video and then use that as your first frame, but just doing it in a very nice, easy to use interface.
It's quick and it's sleek.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest problems with video generation is temporal adherence and temporal, like a constant sort of predictability over time. Like if you look at somebody that's walking down a street, the first 2 seconds, it's exactly what you want. And then he's like, well, no, I don't want him to turn that corner. No, he's not. You're like, okay, I need to trim that, restart it. I just want him to walk down the street.
Or you edit it. I mean, a lot of times like 5 seconds is a pretty long time. And so like you're editing your stuff properly.
Yeah.
A lot of times you aren't going to need the full 5 seconds anyways.
Yeah. I think this is a really prime time ready tool for a lot of YouTubers who just need B-roll.
It is a good B-roll generator. That's what that was a big point I want to get to. Like,
and for $250 a month, it's totally worth it.
But seeing this, I'm just like, okay, cool-ish. It looks more realistic, but as far as the control and what you could do with this,
like, look at all the Johnny Harris videos. Like, I'm sure some motion graphics person is putting all that together, and it's not $250. $250 total. It's probably in the thousands of dollars. Like
for a motion graphics person. And we're talking about Runway's use case for that, and especially with their first middle last frame.
Yeah, but to push this tool into making an entirely, synthetic film, if you will, I think it's just still a little bit too early.
No, I mean, well, currently, definitely right now, Veo 3 is just text to video. There was a kind of a cool demo video from Dave Clark because he had access to this tool and he did some promo stuff with it.
Dave Clark.
Yeah, and it was like a SWAT team heist kind of short film. And it looked good, but looking at it, if you're like not paying attention, it like looks pretty consistent. Right. But I'm guessing it was just like very detailed prompts to just kind of get the characters consistent. Also, like SWAT.
Yeah, it had like a Sicario, like that intro sequence of Sicario, like that kind of feel to it. Yeah,
but yeah, it's just very clever prompting to get it consistent. Obviously, this will change and be able to do first image and have a little bit more consistency. But yeah, that's still the problem. And also, just going back to what I was witnessing with the workflows. It's like the models are better, stuff looks more realistic, but the workflows themselves of text to image, image to video is not evolving as much as the quality of the models. And I think there's still like tons of room for camera control motion. Runway sort of started introducing that in Gen 3. It's not a Gen 4 yet, but that's still like there's still so much to do there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you're talking about like a pipeline, the pipeline is the same. It's just the tools are getting better. Yeah. But somebody needs to just reevaluate the entire pipeline. Yeah. Like how do we actually use this?
Companies are doing that. Yeah. But they're just using very complicated workarounds, like very complicated comfy UI processes and separating background from characters, because if you handle them separately, it works a lot better. Yeah. But it's very cumbersome process
at the moment. For sure. And that goes to show where, like, I think we talked about this in a couple of episodes back, is we're stepping up from a world of foundational models, which was last year. Everybody had their model. This model's better than that model, Veo 2, Veo 3, and so on. Now we're at like a workflow layer where it's like, okay, you go from image to video, video to edit to sound, and that's a workflow. Yeah. I think we'll eventually, in a year or two, get to an application layer where Google has a dedicated application that you download on your desktop or something, or run on a browser, that has a much sleeker interface, combines multiple workflows, combines storage. And, just think of DaVinci Resolve as a sophisticated application. Like, we need an application at that level for professional filmmakers to engage with.
Or someone builds it third party and rolls in their APIs.
Totally.
And, makes it a tool.
There's like, such a room for somebody to
build that outside. Like, I think Flow is probably the biggest product they'll build.
Yeah. They're not in the application, M&E application game, but then Autodesk is and Adobe is. And
I could see Adobe or someone like that incorporating it into their existing pipeline, their existing software to solve a lot of these issues. I think the most interesting, relevant use case that I saw that of like something that you could use Veo 3 today and that is like pretty good is a PJ Ace, I believe, posted it. It was a fake like pharmaceutical commercial. Yeah. For a dog. Yeah, for like a dog, like a fake dog medicine.
Was somebody crying in there?
I don't remember
Was that the one?
But it's like the shots looked realistic, but also it's the type of spot where you only need one or two shots from each scene because it's just like a person talking about a thing. And like looked really good, sounded pretty good, 90% and that's the type of use case where it's like you only need one shot of the person, and you're not like looking to make a bunch of consistent character shots. So advertising.
Let me ask you this: like, is this really coming for jobs then?
It's coming for specific markets of jobs, like advertising, and I mean, there's things that this can do that you just can't do at scale. Like if you wanted to create custom ads or very specific to a person, there was a whole. I don't even have it in my notes here, but I remember there was also another update from Google that was like virtual try-on, which is a huge industry
huge
too.
Market.
Yeah,
we've all shifted away from physical malls to online stores, and one of the big challenges there is you just can't try stuff on anymore.
Yeah, how does this look on me? And then you got to buy it, and I mean, companies got clever like Zappos, where it's like just buy it and return for free. Just buy a bunch of stuff and
I know on the
return
website
back what you don't like.
I'm sure you buy men's clothes online, and it's like the model is 6'1", wearing size medium. I'm like, I'm 6'2", and I never wear size medium.
I just go to Uniqlo and throw my stuff in their little magic bin that automatically tallies everything up. They have the best checkout system.
Really?
You ever go to Uniqlo? No, you just like to throw all your stuff in their bin, and the bin just reads the RFID tags, and that's it. It's just like you put it all in one bin.
Uniqlo physical stores?
Yeah, the physical store.
Really?
Yeah, the self-checkout is like a big plastic bin. You throw all your clothes in it, and it automatically tallies them all up. And it's like, that's it.
That's
and then
so
you just like
awesome.
scan your QR code and you're like, bye.
That's such a guy way to shop. I love it. Like if it's too hard, I'm not buying new clothes.
Yeah, like I just go there. Yeah, it's as close to online shopping as you can get being in a physical store.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. All right. So Veo 3, Flow, the biggest updates. Another interesting update or news announcement, Darren Aronofsky
Yeah.
in the AI game officially.
Yeah, I think he calls it Primordial. Oh, the venture is titled Primordial Soup.
Uh-huh.
And he's going to use Google's products to make something entirely synthetic.
Yeah, they did. I think it's a hybrid. They're using AI tools, but it's a film. The first film under this production slate is Ancestra, which is premiering at Tribeca, and there's a trailer online, but it's a hybrid of AI generated. It's a hybrid of synthetic shots and live action shots.
That's exactly how it should be done.
Yeah, and you can kind of tell in the trailer. It's like the synthetic stuff looks like his quick cuts to like microbes and like origin of the universe type shots. And then there was like live action stuff with the person in them.
I think a lot of the synthetic shots will be replacing VFX as much as it can.
Yeah.
Without going into traditional VFX. And then all of the live traditional shots, quote unquote, will use like 2D motion graphics or something that is relatively easier.
Yeah, I mean, I think this looks like it's just more like the hybrid approach is not even like blending the two. It's just like in the editing process. Like some shots were.
I mean, shout out to Darren Aronofsky for Postcards from Earth. Like that's doing really well at the Sphere.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, he's been someone who has technologically pushed the boundaries, and Postcards from Earth was a specially developed big sky 100 megapixel crazy ass camera that could shoot for the Sphere. You know, a huge technological feat. And this is just another realm in the technological updates.
Yeah, for sure. And this adds to the list of Natasha Lyonne, who's making a film with Asteria Solutions, I believe. So like now we have two legit Hollywood filmmakers that are working on something.
Yeah, that's adapting AI technology.
Yeah.
And then, other Google updates that are not necessarily like video specific, but I thought were interesting. Google Beam, which is... I think it's a rebrand of something they've talked about a bit.
Yeah,
which
Project Starline.
Yes, which was their like 3D video booth.
I've been following this innovation closely. So I have a friend, she was on that team like 5 years ago. So they've been working on it for a long time. And what it essentially is a video conference with two people where the TV has built-in stereoscopic cameras, I think 6 cameras in total. And using the different perspectives, they recreate the remote attendee with the Gaussian splats. That's my guess.
Okay.
And however, the Gaussian splats are really high quality, so there's no splotchiness or, you know.
Yeah, the thing that stood out to me was like watching the demo with their new product launch is just like taking 2D images and turning it into 3D-ish, but like the looks in real time and looks good.
It looks great. So like if you're sitting in front of this TV kiosk thing and you do this, you sway a little bit, you'll get parallax from the other side.
Yeah, you can kind of feel like you're looking at a hologram version of the person. And just to clarify, like no headsets, no anything. it is a special booth. Like
it's hardware.
It's a dedicated hardware product booth. Yeah.
And I'm sure it won't be cheap.
No, this is for enterprise.
But then if you think about global work, right? Like companies now that are completely remote, they have their CEO in one town, CTO in one town. Like when you put those two executives into a meeting, you want to make sure they're really able to effectively communicate.
Yeah, if you can have more of the same vibe of like that in-person
thing. This totally makes sense for a world that's post-COVID, post-remote work.
Yeah, something where it's like you want to have a better interaction than a Zoom call or a phone call, but it doesn't maybe necessarily warrant international travel.
It's still cheaper than a business class ticket for an executive to fly and do something.
Yeah. It reminds me of like the next gen. Remember the Cisco conference room?
I worked on those a long time ago.
You worked on those? The one with like the 3 TVs, there was like a semicircle.
Yeah, this is how I got my start at DreamWorks. I came in as an engineer that worked on the original version of that. We called it Halo. Okay. And then HP bought that and licensed it and built like hundreds of those rooms. And then Cisco copied HP and then built a lot of those. So yeah, I worked on the very first iteration of that. And this was right after 9/11 when air travel was difficult, but you still wanted that, close interaction. Fast forward to like 20 years later, we're seeing Google Beam. And I'm just so happy that high-end video conferencing is still a thing.
Did those? I feel like I have not seen. Not that I'm in the corporate world that often, but I feel like I haven't. Did those rooms die out? I feel
they died out because Zoom and Blue Jeans came in first, and Zoom and like Hangouts and like the
it was like good enough and way cheaper.
The problem with that was, first of all, it was really expensive. Like I think a Cisco room was like in the millions. Like a pair, you have to at least buy a pair.
You had to have their right,
and you have their routers and their codecs.
Did you have to use their data service?
I think they did have a plan for that, but you needed a dedicated line. Like you can just put it on public internet.
This was early 2000s, so like broadband wasn't as...
It was T1. You remember T1? T1 is like $20,000 a month. Yeah. Yeah. So I think we went from like a dedicated room in an office building to anybody's desktop, and now to anybody's laptop and anybody's phone. So it just got more and more decentralized.
Yeah.
Over time.
But now looks like maybe we're coming back with Flow. But yeah, I mean or Beam. I mean, it's a cool product. I'm kind of, it's kind of nerdy out of like interested to see it, but also just the tech behind it and how that could be applied to media entertainment cases in the future.
100%.
Something that in real time could take 2D and turn it into faux 3D that looks really good. Yeah. So I'm curious to see just adapting the tech to from that.
Well, even if you just think about meetings between a director and actors, or during dailies, an editor and the creatives, like the quality of that meeting can go up significantly. And then the communication that happens there can significantly affect the creative decision-making. So just as is, if you plug Google Beam into Hollywood studios, like I think you'll see an uptick in the level of meetings and level of communication.
Yeah, that's a good point too, because it's like, can you use this hardware as a replacement for a headset? And can you load up something else, like a 3D environment, for like doing virtual tech scouts? Like, could you, if you have the Gaussian splat scan of a location, instead of sending headsets to everyone, can you run it on the Beam?
You do a remote location scout?
Yeah, I mean, which exists, but everyone has to have a headset to do it. So like, can this replace the headset so you don't have to deal with the headset?
Yeah, I wonder if that display is a lenticular display. Are you familiar with those?
I've heard this word, but explain it.
Yeah, so it's basically a 3D TV without the goggles or the glasses.
Okay. Like because, that Sony display.
It has these tiny prisms in the front. So if you're in a certain cone of viewing, then you're getting stereoscopic. But if you're sitting between the two cones, you're getting a messed up image.
Is it like that? You've seen that Sony 3D display?
Yeah.
It's like at an angle, like a 45-degree angle. And it's like a computer display, but for 3D, but you don't have to have any headsets.
Okay, I think that's using a beam splitter, which are typically at 45 degrees.
Okay.
A lenticular display will look like a normal display, but it has like a crystal coating on it that breaks the viewing angle into specific cones.
Okay.
Yeah. Very niche technology. Okay. The only reason I know it because I worked on 3D TVs a long time ago.
All right. The Sony one has a built-in camera that tracks your face, so it adjusts the position.
Right. So the reason they need to know where people are is because the lenticulars need to focus the viewing angle on each pair of eyes.
That's cool. I tried the Sony one out at the AWE, and it was cool, but I felt like it worked better when it was like you're looking at a specific product or like an object, because the object would sort of float off the display and you can rotate it. I wasn't quite sure how it would work for an environment.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess technically it could, but I felt like...
You're just limited by GPU, CPU, right?
I mean, just the more the experience of seeing it. Like the 3D-ness of it felt better for like a single thing popping out of the screen.
Yeah.
Less so if I was trying to like navigate or be immersed in a 3D space. I feel like something like Beam or something that a headset obviously works really well for that. But Beam, the display is like very big and like kind of surrounds the front of your face.
I think we're finding out with Apple Vision Pro and some of these high-end VR, AR kit like HoloLens is people still don't want to wear the glasses.
Yeah, that's a huge issue. Yeah.
Although I was on the plane the other day and it's always in first class. You walk in and there's a guy who's doing this with an Apple Vision Pro. And like his arms are reaching into the aisle. I'm like, God, just not right now.
I mean, you also like were leaving a tech event. So like, I feel like the likelihood of someone of that immersed in tech on that plane would be very high.
Absolutely.
All right. And the last thing that stood on my radar from Google, and this wasn't necessarily new, but as I hadn't called it out before, SynthID, which is Google's way of embedding identification inside AI-generated media that you could then run it later and basically identify a way to check in the future if something was AI-generated.
Yeah, so this is like a almost like a competitor to that Adobe
the authenticity
CAP or something like that.
Content authenticity program. Yeah. I mean, I feel like this is eventually everyone's gonna have to get together and create some sort of open standard something that everyone can adapt, because it's not really gonna work out if every model company has their own watermark method and way to check. It's got to be a standard.
One of the big reasons they do that is for trust and safety. Like every time you roll out a AI solution to a big company, the first thing they're going to ask for is it safe? Is it going to generate something we don't want? And is it going to harm our brand, harm our company? So like to track every generation totally makes sense.
Yeah. And just for everyone to be able to verify, and especially for news footage, real life footage. I mean, that was like everything on X has been a feed of like a lot of the clips people are developing are real life looking clips, like clips from a trade show or an interview clip after a sports game, like stuff that looks for a news clip, not necessarily cinematic shots or something that looks like something from a movie where you'd be like, oh, was this a Hollywood film or was this AI generated? It's more like, oh, is this like a real life clip or was this AI generated?
Yeah, you could fool somebody pretty easily.
And then on the flip side, people started posting real clips from like real news events, be like, look what I made on VO3. More of like a joke, but then it's just like, what is happening? And like, you just start questioning everything. And I even saw this morning, people questioning the story we'll talk about in a bit of the video with Sam Altman and
Jony
Ives started questioning if that was AI generated.
It totally could be.
I think that a bunch of Google stuff, I think maybe that wraps that up. But
it's a really exciting time for everybody in film and TV. I think once we get our hands on VO3.
Probably exciting and scary. I know there's a lot of, panic and scary comments around it. For me, I don't know. It's like the quality does look better, but it doesn't really shift anything if you've been paying attention that we haven't already seen. Like, yes, the models are very good. Still the same limitations of how this could actually be implemented in something long form.
It's immediately ready to plug into certain use cases. I think we're going to be pretty far away from 100% synthetically generated films, Hollywood level films for a while. Having said that, like every incremental update with generative AI, like Google Flow today, is making the use case and the economic viability of this stuff more and more plausible. And if you kind of track that, you almost are forcing upon artists a mandate to learn all this stuff and just retool themselves to use this. We all have to kind of evolve into a hybrid of ourselves where you're still experts in the traditional tool sets we've used and also using all of the brand new tools and then mixing the two. We're the transitional generation, right? And I think movie making 30 years from now, who knows what that'll look like. But for us, we come from the world of computer-generated graphics and VFX and all the tools to now transitioning to these things, and then we'll pass the torch to the future generation.
And I think a good point of like learning the workflow, learning how this works is like, yes, all of these AI updates keep coming out quickly, but if you learn the flow behind it, the advantage is once you kind of figure out a workflow that works for you, once there's a new model or something, it's like you can swap the model out. And it's like, maybe your outputs will get better, but the workflow, I mean, for better or worse, right now, we outline the workflow now. It's like text to image and image to video. But you could just swap out what the models are, but you kind of get the gist, the core of the workflow down, which hasn't really changed that much. And as the models improve, you can just swap the models out.
Yeah, exactly. And regardless of what you feel about the ethics and, the training sets, who's stealing from what, I think if you're ignoring all of this innovation, you're really doing yourself a disservice. At least be on top of it, be aware of it, know what the limitations are. Like that's the least you can do if you don't want to use it. Just know what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, more AI updates.
So this one I'm really excited about. So, I come from the world of motion capture and Unreal Engine usage. And when Unreal Engine and motion capture and performance capture combined itself, like about 10 years ago, one of the big use cases that we thought would immediately take off is vloggers and user-generated content with digital characters. Now they have a real-time renderer that can run on a laptop. You hook up a basic motion capture suit, boom, off you go. You could be a digital character on Twitch, on YouTube, do all types of stuff. Other than a few creators, like CodeMiko is a big one, it really hasn't taken off. And it was such a missed opportunity for so many content creators.
It's still very clunky. It was really
difficult. So I helped a friend of mine put a system together. He had a semi-successful show on Twitch for a while during the pandemic, during the lockdown. I had a lot of time to help people. And the reason we just couldn't do this at a pace that we're doing the podcast, we do it twice a week, is because it was just technologically a big lift for him. And he was not technical. He was a performer, an actor, a creative.
Yeah.
He's like, wait, I have to calibrate the suit. I have to put Unreal into this mode.
Right.
It's just a lot of work. Fast forward to today, we have Viggle AI, which does exactly that in real time.
Yeah, so it is, I can take a webcam feed or a video feed of you and change you into another character using AI in real time.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and this ties into, this is like the exact flip of what I've just been kind of complaining, ranting about, where it's just like, it takes too long, it's not real time enough. This is the exact opposite of where I think, obviously things will go. It's like, oh, you can see it and it's happening in real time.
Yeah.
That's the future.
You're not wearing a facial capture helmet. You're not doing anything special. You're just pointing a phone or a camera on you, and it's doing all the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
It got slept on, man. This is huge.
Yeah, I mean, this came out a few days ago, and then Google and Microsoft dumped all their news and stuff, and this kind of got buried a bit. But I think this was really cool.
Yeah, I think if you're a content creator now that's doing, your own universe, your own characters, this is a really exciting time for you to start a new YouTube channel, start a new Twitch channel, a Kick channel, whatever, and just try it out.
I mean, yeah, it's a big difference. I remember reading an interview with like Code Miko, and she was like, once I'm in the tracking suit and I'm trying to stream for like 6 hours, like I can't go to the bathroom. It's going to take like 20 minutes to like take this whole suit off.
Yeah, she uses an XN suit. I think XN sponsored her, but yeah, like one of the best to ever do it. And she has a massive, and there's real money involved. I'm sure she's making millions of dollars doing this.
And yeah, if you want to create a character, I think even just beyond the streaming use cases, just to be able to film and do something and talk about the traditional methods we're using, but see it in real time.
Also, if it doesn't have to be content creators in UGC, like for a lot of ideation and concepting with animated films, you could use this stuff.
Yeah. And that was one of those workflows I saw with a company that's kind of using a combo of Lightcraft with an iPhone on a cinema camera and then running the shots through Wonder Dynamics, which I don't know why I don't see more Wonder Dynamics use, because I feel like
since they got acquired by Autodesk.
Yeah, and I know they're not called Wonder Dynamics anymore. Yeah. I forgot their new name, so they should probably keep Wonder Dynamics, because I don't remember what the new name is. It's Autodesk Flow something. I don't remember. Sorry, Autodesk. But yeah, Wonder Dynamics was a good name. Yeah, I don't. That it sort of solves one of the only to do like just track a person and replace them with a character. I'm surprised I don't see that used more in the generative AI creative pipeline.
Yeah, same.
Because it solves a lot of the issues of face tracking and performance capture.
Motion capture never really got easier, but yeah, you have markerless mocap solutions, but it also comes at a significant compromise. Like the quality is just not there.
Versus wearing a suit or something else.
Right.
Yeah. But in the world of Gen AI, I feel like you're getting a little bit more control over the crapshoot over the slot machine handle.
Yeah, and the slot machine handles a lot of the difficulties of mocap. Like it'll like account for the errors and then boost the signal, if you will. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, especially if, something like Wonder Dynamics, you're post-processing it. So if the computer's processing it, you're looking at it. This Viggle update is real time and processes in real time, which is wild. Crazy. And I think I'm excited to see that with characters, but also something, imagine something like in the sense of what Skyglass sort of was kind of doing, but it's like where you could be in an actual environment and like, had replace the person, and you're able to have a consistent character, consistent environment, and move your camera around, and it's all generated.
Real-time AI is going to be such a huge frontier.
I'm more excited about that than VO3.
I agree with you. I think that because you're starting to blend traditional computer graphics with neural rendering.
Yeah, I want to have the traditional filmmaking control and tools, with the power of AI to level up the quality on a low budget. Last story.
Jony Ives.
You ever watch the documentary Objectified?
No.
You ever watch the documentary Helvetica?
I don't watch many documentaries. Sorry.
These are like in the...
Helvetica, the font?
Yeah. There is Gary Hustwit. There is a design trilogy. He came out with the documentary Helvetica, which I think was like in 2005 2005, 2006. It is a documentary about the font. It is very entertaining. It's very interesting. And then he did a second one that was called Objectified, that was about the design of objects. And Jony Ive was one of the sort of main characters in it. That was how he first came on my radar. And it was, I probably talked about stuff that like Apple would not talk about today. But the interesting thing in his interview then, he was talking a lot about, he did the iPhone, but he also was designing the MacBooks. But he was also designing the machines that manufactured the MacBooks. And he would also talk about how it was like just as complicated to figure out how to make the machines to make these things than to actually design the things themselves.
Yeah, at scale, right? Because you're making 100,000 MacBooks a month or something crazy.
Yeah. And so, that he was sort of kind of became the star of that movie.
So
that was
awesome.
how he first came on my radar, and then obviously became sort of
didn't he design
famous.
those like IMAX with the neon colors?
The plastic ones?
The plastic ones?
I don't remember.
I thought
maybe.
I thought he did. I mean, he
definitely
definitely
was on the team for
designed
it
the iPhone, iPad, and
and the original UI or the later UI.
Can I tell you an Apple story? We're both Apple fanboys. Sorry, viewers. I hope you are too.
MacBooks on the table.
Okay, so Jony Ives designed the first iteration of iOS, and then he wanted to show it to Steve Jobs for the first time, and he hands him this piece of glass that's running the software, right? And Steve Jobs is scrolling. And then the minute he gets to the end, he scrolls. And what the UI does is it kind of just pulls and pinches and then bounces and settles. It does that, right? Because it's like all built into the
kind of like I reached the end. Yeah.
And Steve Jobs looked at that bit and he was like, yeah, this is it. Because it was that polished and that refined and that highly thought out by Jony Ives, and he instantly knew, like, this is the way we're going to use phones. Yeah. So it was that little feature.
Yeah, he nailed that UI. Yeah. And it's been, I mean, it's funny because like even back then, it's like that is still the UI experience that we still have today.
Everybody's
kind of works.
Like Android is that, right? Like everybody copied the original iOS.
Yeah, it just like feels alive in a sense.
Yeah. Did you ever see the BlackBerry movie?
No, I still have not seen the BlackBerry movie.
Oh, you got to watch
that. That's good? Okay, I'll check it out.
Okay.
Long intro to say. Big announcement, OpenAI has acqui-hired Jony Ives, $6.5 billion deal to bring him on board. Because he split off from Apple, launched his own design firm company. But now it seems like the whole company was sort of acquired, rolled into OpenAI to start building AI products.
I mean, does Jony Ives need more money here? He's a knight already.
I mean, I highly doubt this is about the money. This is about, the next challenge, the next thing.
Yeah.
To build and building for whatever a AI future device looks like.
Speculate with me a little bit.
Yeah. People are saying, it's, the iPhone killer. I don't think it's gonna be a phone. That doesn't make any sense. I think wearable, probably earphones,
probably AR glasses,
maybe glasses. I mean, everyone else is trying to do glasses, so maybe it'll just be an audio interface. So something of like that, the pin.
The rabbit.
No, those were kind of dumb. There's a pin. It's like a little white button that, it just sort of like is a mic, and I've seen one. It's like a mic, and it's just kind of recording all day, and it's more like a life note taker thing to kind of recap your day. So maybe it's something like that. Maybe it's something that's like just an earphone. Okay, like her kind of thing.
I do think you need a display though.
Maybe
because like you
the
want to
displays
see
when you get back on your phone, or maybe it's an app. Maybe it's something that syncs where. Your phone, but it's it's a
little bit of a tangent. The other
what
day,
are you thinking?
I put on the Ray-Ban glasses, the Meta ones.
Oh yeah.
And I was a skeptic, and then afterwards, I was a believer.
Oh, really?
They are so well thought out, especially the audio quality out of that thing is so good out of just a thin pair of glasses.
Yeah.
And it can do real-time translation. So if you're in Japan, somebody speaking to you in Japanese, it's feeding English into your ear.
I can't think of the name.
Samsung has the earbuds that do that as well.
No, I'm trying to think of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy device from that movie that you put in your ear and can translate it to real time.
Yeah. I mean, that's what the UN does with real people, right?
But to be able to just travel and have real time translation, that's magic.
That's a novel use case. And then I think for blind people, you put on the Ray-Bans, and then because it can see the world with AI, it'll tell you there's a staircase ahead.
That's cool. That was another thing Google also demonstrated too, like showing like walking around with the phone and asking like it was kind of funny. It was like asking like dumb questions about like the world. It's like, why is there a package on the lawn? It's like, that's a utility box. But anyways, OpenAI hardware. You think glasses, or you think glasses does make sense too, because also you can have a camera in it, so you can see the world.
Joey, I do see a phone-like device here, but not with. I think the magic of Jony Ives will be in the operating system and the application layer, not necessarily the hardware itself. Because if you use ChatGPT every day, it's still kind of clunky. Like the fact that you're talking to it or typing into it is still a barrier.
The chat history is a mess.
Yeah, it doesn't remember well what you did a week ago.
The memory thing's better. I've actually been using ChatGPT more because of the memory feature.
Yeah,
because like no one else really has a memory feature. And
maybe it'll go the Siri or Alexa route where it's a like personified AI. You know, I don't know, but I think there's certainly room for improvement. And with a mind like Jony Ives, one can only hope.
I feel like you'd have be strongly involved in the hardware element too.
Sure.
Yeah, maybe it's one of those like headphone things, the ones that kind of go on the bone, where it's not in the ear, but it vibrates and kind of you hear it.
Oh yeah, sure.
Maybe something like that.
Yeah, it's just constantly feeding you audio.
Yeah, it would make sense if it could see the world.
But they do have all the money in the world to prototype this thing, right? Like they're riding hot right now.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it is glasses, but yeah, everyone's doing glasses. That was another Google update that they're partnering with Warby Parker to develop glasses and a wearable version of Android.
Yeah, the rumor is Apple is now working on AR glasses, so I think they're sort of paused on the AVP for a bit.
Yeah, I think I did see that they are still developing Gen 2 or like a non-pro version, so like a cheaper, lighter version, but that they're also going on glasses. I mean,
I put on the
makes sense.
Yeah, the Meta Quest 3, the latest from Meta.
The headset,
so good.
Yeah,
it's so much lighter. It's so much thinner. It's way more comfortable. Obviously, I wouldn't walk around in public with it, but if I had to, you could wear that thing for hours.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's very responsive.
Yeah, go around in public in them. I don't know, but
you could be the guy on the plane.
I mean, if I'm sitting in the plane and I'm I would be curious to try it. It seems appealing, you know. Let me just go watch my IMAX movie on an airplane.
But the arms is what gets me.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
like you need a little clicker so you're not waving your arms around.
But how much? I mean, unless you're playing a game, how much are you really waving around? Because you can
navigating the menu.
The Apple Vision Pro is pretty good because you could just you look around with your eyes and you just pinch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I don't know what that guy was doing then. He had the AVP on.
He was being a glass hole.
Glass hole.
Yeah, the Apple Vision Pro is really good. It tracks your eyes, so you just look and then you just pinch. So you could be very subtle with it.
Yeah, especially if you're sitting in the middle on a plane.
Yeah. Minority Report. All right. Good place to wrap it up.
Good place to don't be a glass hole.
Don't be a glass
I want to
hole.
do a quick shout out to good viewer, listener, friend of the show, Eric. Left us a really nice review.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Eric.
And if you want to be like Eric, leave us a review, a 5-star review, please.
We'll give you a shout as well.
Yeah, Apple Podcast or Spotify, either one works. But it's the best way to help grow the awareness of the show. So yeah, please hop over, leave a review. We really appreciate it. But yeah, thanks for that. That does wrap up the show. Links and notes and everything we talk about at denoisedpodcast.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next episode.